True. All right. There's not one, but 3 hurricane recovery efforts going on right now. Plus North Korea, plus Las Vegas. It's terrible. It's easy to sit on Jimmy's couch yakking about how she'd solve all our problems so much better than this guy. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Shut up! But that wasn't the most nauseating part. That happened later when Jimmy Fallon's writers came out and read thank you notes to Hillary for over 6 minutes. We're going to show you the shortened version. The long version could melt your flesh into a hot puddle.
Thank you, Hillary Clinton, for being the first female presidential candidate nominated by a major party.
For handling this difficult transition with more grace than I ever could have imagined. That being said, call me day or night and I will be there with a gallon of ice cream and 2 spoons to tell you, girl, you are so much better than him.
For always sticking to the issues, even as people criticize you for superficial things like your hair, your wardrobe, and your appearance. You showed girls everywhere that politics isn't a popularity contest, because if it were, you would have won by about 3 million votes.
For standing up to critics who said that a woman couldn't be president because they'd be too emotional, impulsive, and unpredictable. So glad we didn't end up with someone like that.
Wow, that was bad. I mean, really bad. I mean, worse than bad, maybe awful. So they gave thank you notes to Hillary, and later they sent cease and desist letters to Bill. I think we can all agree that if there is a hell, that segment will be playing in an innermost circle of it for all of eternity. I mean, if you had to choose between that and a 3-inch live cricket burrowing deeply into your ear canal, you would take the cricket and his family. But I don't get it. Shouldn't these young women be reading Hillary the Riot Act instead of thank you notes? Oh, boo-hoo baloney. It was her candidacy that helped elect Donald Trump, you distressed damsels. Talk about the world's first losing tour. Parades are usually for the victorious, but this is a never-ending procession of pathetic cop-outs and self-righteous regrets. Never has one person made so much out of doing so little. So is she driven by bitterness over her loss, or is it all about greed to gin up book sales? There is an upside, but it's for her husband, Bill. While she's on tour, he's on a hostess. She'll be... I'm not done. But I'm not done. She'll be signing books. He'll be signing breasts. She'll read a passage. He'll be trying to enter one. But as annoying as this is, remember this. Wouldn't you rather have her on a tacky couch than in the Oval Office? This is a small price to pay to keep from hearing this every day.
Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
Oh, we have. It never gets old. As long as she's on TV and not in the White House, I'll always be proud to say I'm with her. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so sharp, you'll get splinters if you go near him. Author, political commentator, and host of The Mark Steyn Show, Mark Steyn. On the outside, he's a Ken doll. On the inside, G.I. Joe, tougher than a well-done steak in trigonometry class. Fox and Friends co-host, Pete Hegseth. Her glasses can be seen from space. National Review reporter Kat Timpf. Finally. Pour some water in his footprint and you got a swimming pool. Former bodyguard and my massive sidekick, Tyrus. All right. Mark Steyn, I was watching this. I thought it was a meta skit that Fallon was pulling on everybody, and then I realized it wasn't.
No.
What did you make of this?
Well, these are supposed to be comedy writers.
Yes.
Is that these are comedy writers?
Yes.
I've never given. I don't give a lot of advice on writing, but the one thing I said years ago to some interview is you should always be able to see the comedy in your own side. And I don't know what happened to these people that they can't. I mean, Hillary Actually, what I thought was going to happen, because normally when politicians go on these shows, they do jokes. And you remember the last time I was on, I said how much I liked Hillary telling jokes, because she does the bobble-headed thing.
Yes.
And I looked up one of the ones she did during the campaign, which was a great joke. Hillary actually did this before at a fundraiser, in fact. She goes, I hear some man just invented Pokemon Go. I'm waiting for someone to invent Pokemon Go to the polls. Give it up! Woo! And I don't understand how professional paid comedy writers, when you've got this hotshot comedian in front of you, are still doing these drippy with this like limpid piano music.
I thought the piano was what made it for me. No, but when she used to tell jokes, the punchline was like a frisbee in the desert. You could just see it coming at you from a...
No. It's like a plane at LaGuardia taking 40 minutes to go from the gate to the runway. You can see it. You can see it. And the pilot is saying, Hillary's punchline is 18th for takeoff. And that's how it is when Hillary tells a joke. That timing, Kat, is brilliant.
Right, well, Kat, what did you make of her performance and the whole thing? Well, you are a female writer.
I sure am. A female and a writer.
That's two full-time occupations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what really grinds my gears about this, Greg?
What?
Is that you hear people say, Fox News won't stop talking about Hillary. Hillary won't stop talking about Hillary. It's like if you have a friend, it's like my ex-boyfriend won't stop texting me. It's like, well, you texting him back? And she's like, well, I'm actually texting him first, but he keeps replying to me. It's the same exact thing. And if you're going to be on this little set where people are writing thank you notes to a loser, it is my civic duty to make fun of that.
Yes. Pete, it's easy to laugh at this, but I do believe that they were earnest in their letters.
They were completely earnest.
Yes, they really were.
In fact, that is the expose of, save for Fox News Channel, every single newsroom in this city is full of male and female writers who are lock, stock, and barrel progressive liberals who pretend to be journalists and give us news that is unbiased. When in actuality, they are complete leftists writing jokes about Republicans who can't actually laugh at themselves and the worst candidate they've ever run in history. And on the Miley Cyrus thing, when I first watched it, I thought this has got to be a joke. Is she pretending to cry so she can end it with a punchline? She was actually the woman who taught us to twerk. Is crying about Hillary Clinton.
I think Tyrus is going to disagree.
Hell no.
Who taught us to twerk?
It wasn't nobody named Molly Cyrus. I'll tell you right now. Her name was like Yvette Johnson. No damn Molly Cyrus. Look,
you've never written me a thank you note.
And just wait for it. You got something to look forward to. Here's the thing. This is our fault, Greg.
Yeah, is it?
This is Mr. President Trump's fault. Your fault.
Why?
My fault. Y'all's fault.
Why?
When you win, you win. And you don't say nothing to the dude you knocked out in the ring.
That's true.
You move on. We keep we're punching down. We talked about in the back. We're punching down. Every time we hear, bop, loser. Bop.
She started it.
No, we won. We ended it when we won. And we're still playing with her. And she was dragging lady, and she couldn't get on those talk shows and stuff because everyone, even her other side, was like, Hillary, darling, would you please just go away? But we keep punching at her. I'm not saying nothing about her no more because she went from dragging lady to grandma on that segment. And all those little crying hearts and stuff, you're starting something. You go from kicking somebody's ass till it's overkill, and then now it's your fault. You keep bagging on her.
Wait a second.
You all watch. This is going to come back and bite us all in the butt.
I'm going to
We're keeping her relevant. This is our fault.
Tyrus. She keeps going around with this loser tour.
When I was 3, I was told if I didn't like someone to play, I ignored them. Right? You ignore somebody, eventually they go away. But if you keep responding,
How is that fun?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Okay. You got a Russian probe going around and you keeping her relevant. I said it reminded on this date here.
Russia.
Watch it. Watch it.
I got a great segment out of this. Thank you very much. Those letters are the best thing on TV.
Yeah, they are.
They really are.
You are. You're changing our image.
Do you want to, no, not change any image.
Why did Miley Cyrus, I mean, I'd forgotten about the twerking. Wouldn't you like to have seen her teach Hillary how to twerk?
No.
Wait, come on. That would be great.
You know what? You know what I would like to see before we leave? I would like to see this happened on happened on Thursday or Friday. Happened on Friday. President Trump pronouncing Puerto Rico.
We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
I don't understand, but it makes me laugh. I don't know. All right, coming up. Late night comics can't stop lecturing you on gun control. I guess it beats writing jokes. All right, watch any late night TV host and it becomes clear they share the same script or the same brain.
They say it's inappropriate to be talking about it because it's too soon. Well, maybe it's too soon for you because deep down inside, you know, in your heart, you know you bear some responsibility.
They always say that a gun tragedy is never the right time to talk about stopping the next gun tragedy.
I'm sorry that we live in a world where there are people who will put a gun before your lives.
So as they echo similar emotions minus the facts, some impugn you if you offer statistics that deflate their case. As the media acts as if you're trying somehow to silence them, is this silence?
The bar is so low right now. The Congress can be heroes by doing
about it
literally
because it's too soon. Maybe it's
Not silence. But I prefer facts when it comes to guns. But other hosts, they don't. So why is that? First, you're in entertainment to be loved. And all that attention that you get from saying this stuff just encourages you to do it more. It's a drug that makes up for something. Second, they don't know any better. One night of reading could disabuse them of their biases, but don't hold your breath. Third, it's a class thing. Celebs and media already look down on gun owners. It's the South, Republicans, Trump voters. If you like the Second Amendment, you must be a toothless hick who fries squirrels with your half-sister on a date. Finally, they feel guilty about the role they play in a culture that thrives on glorified violence. They hate guns, except when they make them money. So after all the emotions evaporate, all you got are facts. Vegas was a well-planned mass execution by one man in a sea of 7 billion people. One fiend who created a larger impact than his life deserves, affecting thousands. We need to make such infamy meaningless. Reduce that media footprint. That's why we didn't show his face tonight. But it's going to happen again, and it could be worse. Terror thrives on a learning curve. This event just taught terrorists a thing or two. The Fiend's targets, they were all open-air venues. We need to get ahead of this. Not just about bump stocks, but barriers. Embrace security. Prevent such attacks with new technology. Could a swarm of drones shield us against a terrorist at an outdoor concert? That seems plausible. This is where solutions come from, not from comics armed with emotions, but adults armed with knowledge. Last, it's got to be hard for you to be lectured by well-protected celebrities who exist in the rarefied air of Bel Air or Upper Manhattan with no need for firearms. Their security team is strapped. You don't have that luxury. I'm one of the people that I don't mind when people express their emotional anger or whatever partisan side that they take. Yeah. But I don't like it when they impugn your motives. When Kimmel says, well, it makes you feel bad because he knows that you're guilty.
You value a gun more than a life.
Right.
Like, no, maybe I actually value my life and the lives of my family, and that's why I own many guns, not just one gun. Because when you're in a tough situation, either you take initiative or you don't. And you know, a lot of folks don't live in the middle of a city where the cops on every street corner. You live where there's a county sheriff who's 10 minutes away, and you make a phone call, and you either have that moment or not. The left will always exploit. Rahm Emanuel said, never pass an opportunity or a crisis to advance your agenda. They will continue to do that. And this is another example. Listen, I don't know why the Republicans, conservatives, the NRA should never retreat on this issue. This is a country of gun owners who have it for a reason, because we are free people in a free society, and unfortunately, in a free society, it allows a maniac like this guy to maniacally plan something like this and execute it. You can't policymaker your way out of everything. You need to stand by your principles.
Tyrus, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the people voicing these opinions live in areas that are well protected. Like if you're in a studio, you're surrounded by guys with guns, and the rest of America, they're living in places where it takes a while for the cops to get there. That doesn't happen where they are.
Well, I think...
I mean, you're a bodyguard.
Right, and, you know, and it's funny because most of the time I never carried a piece because seeing the piece on me usually made guys jump faster, so I would have a smaller guy like your size who would carry the gun because they would focus on me and hit blasts. No, that's real talk. That's how I did it. My boy Rico was your height.
Really?
Nobody saw him, and if they did see him, it was the last thing they saw. So I won't, but I'm thanking God his ass had a 45.
Yeah.
I don't think we should ever have the conversation about regulating Americans owning guns. That's our right.
Yeah.
And you can't take that away. I do think, though, if you want to own 50 guns and you want to have a warehouse full of bullets, then maybe there should be some form of registering, or maybe the FBI steps in at some point and be just checking to see why you have this many, you know, if it's extreme, you know what I'm saying?
Who draws that?
And that's the conversation. Where do we draw the line? What do we think is acceptable? Me personally, 50 seems, that seems like a good number, you know, but, because I only got 2 hands, you know, so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want someone telling me what I can and cannot own. I own guns. Right. My friend own guns. But, you know, I think there's something to be in there. But we have to be careful because we live in a time where people don't really want to fix problems. Because you made a great point. Defense. If we make, like, look, because there's an argument about the trucks, you know, the truck, the knife, and all that kind of stuff. Well, when the situation happened with the planes, TSA, everything changed. Right. The airports changed. You had to go through annoying security, but we haven't had an incident.
Yeah.
So maybe our hotels,
I think you're right,
knowing security. I think that they scan your bag. I know it's a pain in the ass, but it's hard for him to get 10 bags of guns in when there's a guy going, sir, what's this? Oh, sorry, you're going to jail.
No, I think you're right. I actually think that. I know a lot of people, Mark, are complaining about that, about the fact that they're going to go into casinos and they're going to put up but it works.
Creates jobs, too.
Yeah, but eventually people are going to resent that. If everything you do, you've got to go through a security checkpoint. You made a good point that you thought it was, you know, Bel Air and Midtown Manhattan condescending to the South. I'd also say I think it's these celebrities, late-night guys, it's the rest of the world condescending to America. Because I notice about some of these late-night guys, you got Trevor Noah, you got, what's he called? James Corden, you got John Oliver. And I don't know about you guys, but if there's one thing I really can't stand, it's like some snot-nosed foreigner with some weirdo accent telling you guys what's wrong with your country. And I don't know. And as I'm the only snot-nosed foreigner without my own late-night show, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But these guys, I don't know why Americans put up with it. Why do you what's the point of July the 4th, 1776, if you got all these British Commonwealth guys like Trevor Noah and John Oliver hogging up your airtime?
It's true. I like that you argued against your own opinion. Kat, last word. What do you think? What do you make of this? Where do you want to go?
Whenever a tragedy like this happens, it always splits into the people who argue against the Second Amendment protections, the people that argue for the protections. But the Second Amendment is the argument, okay? Leftists always want to say we have to get all the guns off the streets and, you know, it's obsolete. The Second Amendment obsolete. No, it isn't. It's not obsolete until 2/3 of both houses, if 3/4 of states agree that it is, or the Constitutional Convention method as detailed in Article 5. That's how we do things here, okay? It's just either the Constitution protects your freedoms or it doesn't, so you have to respect it. I'm fine for sensible gun control, but you have to look at it through a constitutional lens, and getting rid of all guns is not constitutional.
And I'm emotional about it, so I'll take your Constitution and set it aside.
All right, still to come, President Trump just surpassed Pope Francis in Twitter followers. We'll discuss what this means, which is probably nothing.